Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. With NFL season right around the corner this Thursday, Bills and Rams, I'm going to be sharing with you guys who I think is going to win each division this year in the NFL. So yeah, let's get into it. We're going to start with the AFC East. This division is probably one of the easiest ones to predict in all the NFL, and my prediction here is not really going to shock anyone. I'm obviously going to go with the Buffalo Bills here to win this division for a couple reasons. Number one, they have Josh Allen, and I think he's going to win MVP this year. He's continued to improve every single season he's been in the league, and I don't think it stops this year. The Dolphins, Patriots, and even the Jets, if you want to include them, will be okay this year. They simply do not have enough star power to compete with the Bills, and also, of course, injuries in the NFL are a major factor in making these decisions, but with that being said, I still do think the Bills will come on top of the AFC East, especially with Tre'Davious White coming back at some point in the season and the acquisition of Von Miller, making that defense even more lethal. The only real team I can see competing with the Bills is the Miami Dolphins, if Tua can improve from last year and find Tyreek Hill, but I'm still not sold on Tua yet. So, to keep it simple, I'm going to go with the Bills here. They have the most complete team, maybe in the entire league, and I see them seriously making an actual Super Bowl run this year. So yeah, that's who I'm going with, the AFC East. Up next, we have the AFC North, and here's where it starts to get controversial with my predictions. Hurts me to have to do this as a Steelers fan, but I'm going to predict that the Cincinnati Bengals will win this division this year. Realistically, I think any of the four teams in this division can take it, but the Bengals are the most complete team out of the four, and there are a lot of question marks surrounding the other three teams, especially at the quarterback position, with Lamar Jackson still not getting a contract extension in Baltimore, and Deshaun Watson being out half the season in Cleveland, and Mitch Trubisky being unproven in Pittsburgh. Also, the Bengals addressed their main issue being their offensive line last season and brought in 3 new O-linemen to help make that offense even more unstoppable. Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and La'el Collins to make that running game with Joe Mixon even more lethal. And I fully expect the Bengals to have another great season, possibly make another run at a Super Bowl. And yeah, they are definitely going to win the AFC North, in my opinion. Now, another fairly controversial pick for the AFC. We're going to be talking about the AFC West. And this might make some people mad, but at the same time, I think it makes the most sense. I'm going to say that the LA Chargers are finally going to take that big step and win this division. The acquisitions of J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack were absolutely huge for this defense. And with the Chiefs finally losing some firepower on offense with Tyreek Hill, I truly do think this is the year that Justin Herbert can lead this team to win a division. And now, the interesting thing about the AFC West is that literally you could argue every single team in this division can win it. With the Broncos acquiring Russell Wilson, the Chiefs still having Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and the Raiders acquiring Devontae Adams from the Packers. But I think the Chargers have the most complete team out of everyone in the AFC West, and I think they're going to win the division. But with that being said, I would not be surprised if all 4 of these teams make the playoffs, because they are all still very good. But as far as winning the division goes, I'm going to say the Chargers will have a better record than the Chiefs and win the AFC West. They are just... Their team is literally stacked. It's incredible. To round out the AFC here, we have one of the more interesting divisions in the whole league, and that is going to be the AFC South. There are a lot of different scenarios I could certainly see playing out this year, but what I think is going to happen, and the most likely scenario, is that the Colts will win this division. The Titans, on one hand, took a massive hit this offseason with the loss of A.J. Brown being dealt to the Eagles. And despite getting the number 1 seed last year and acquiring Robert Woods and drafting Treylon Burks, I still think they're due for a massive decline in production, especially with Derrick Henry getting older at this point, so that doesn't help either. On one hand, they are pretty much out of the picture, in my opinion. The real intrigue comes from two more teams that not a lot of people are talking about, and that's the Jaguars and the Texans. I think we could certainly see some improvement from Trevor Lawrence and Davis Mills this year, as they got a lot of better weapons this offseason. With that being said, though, I still think the Colts have gotten only better this offseason, upgrading from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan and also acquiring Stephon Gilmore. Also, in case you forgot, there's still this guy named Jonathan Taylor who's entering his prime with a top 3 offensive line in the league. So I don't see any of these teams being able to stop him for the most part. And do I think he'll be good as last season? Probably not, but the Colts still do have the best overall roster out of the 4 teams in this division, and I still think they're going to win the AFC South. Moving on over to the NFC, we're going to start with the division that gets made fun of the most, and rightfully so, the NFC East. This one is pretty tough because there's always uncertainty with each of these teams, and it really comes down to who's the most consistent throughout the year and who doesn't get plagued by injuries. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles winning this division, though. I could very well see Dallas or Washington taking it, but as of right now, I think the Eagles had an amazing offseason, bringing in A.J. Brown, James Bradbury, and drafting guys like Davis to bolster that defensive line as well. It really comes down to who can stay healthy and who can stay consistent in this division. But as of right now, the Eagles have easily the best roster. With that being said, I think Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are due for big seasons as well, but I think the Eagles have the more complete team, especially with those additions on the defense that I previously mentioned, and A.J. Brown will help as well. Up next, the NFC North, and this one is going to be more of a risky pick, but we'll see what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm going to predict the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this division. I truly do believe that this is Justin Jefferson's year, and he's going to finish as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy this year. The Vikings will once again go back to the playoffs, led by Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins. With that being said, I know a lot of people are probably going to be confused why I didn't pick the Packers to win this division, and my reasoning for that is 2 words: Devontae Adams. It's already been reported that Aaron Rodgers is frustrated with the Packers' receiving core, and they do not have a lot of chemistry together. So, despite the Packers' amazing defense, I think their offense isn't going to do enough for them to win enough games this year. So, I have the Vikings winning this division for that reason. I think we're going to start seeing the decline of Aaron Rodgers after his 2 MVP seasons. And I think the Vikings are going to take full advantage of that and snag the NFC North division title. Another division that could go a bunch of different directions this year is the NFC West, with the Rams, 49ers, and Cardinals all looking to make playoff runs this year. We're not going to include Seattle in this, but I could see each of these 3 teams making a case for winning the division. I'm going to go with my gut and the safe pick here. I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Rams to repeat and win the division once again. Even though they lost many key contributors such as OBJ, Von Miller, Darius Williams, they are still one of the best teams in the league, and they acquired Allen Robinson as well to make up for losing OBJ and Robert Woods. So I still think they'll be completely fine with this very amazing offense led by Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford. They will definitely be making another run back at the Super Bowl. They still have Aaron Donald. They still have Jalen Ramsey. They're going to be just fine. They will win this division again. Trey Lance does not have enough experience under his belt, and the Cardinals are way too inconsistent for me. So I'm going to go with the Rams here. Finally, the last division winner I'm going to predict today is for the NFC South. And at first glance, this seems like a pretty obvious one, but I think it's a little closer than most of you may think. For me, it's pretty much between the Saints and the Bucks, as the Panthers and Atlanta Falcons are still trying to rebuild and figure out their identities. And one thing I've learned on that note is to never bet against Tom Brady, and I'm not going to be doing that today, as I have the Bucks winning this division. It is certainly going to be closer, though, than most people think. Jameis Winston, when he was healthy last year, was incredible for the Saints. And I fully expect him to do the same thing this year if he can stay healthy. And the Saints have gotten better with one of the better defenses in the league and still a very solid offense with Michael Thomas coming back and Alvin Kamara being there as well. At the same time, though, as long as Tom Brady is playing, it's very hard to bet against him, and he'll always find a way to make it work, even without Rob Gronkowski this year. So, to close this one out, I have an anticlimactic pick. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the NFC South. That's going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoy it as always. Be sure to comment down below who you guys think is going to win each division in the NFL this season. I want to hear your guys' opinions. Hope y'all enjoyed as always, and peace.